Our game number 3 between Daut and Chris. Of course, this is not a best of series, it's just 6 games, a set of 6, and currently the score is tied up at 1 apiece, with Chris winning the first game quite conclusively, Daut winning the second game quite conclusively. There wasn't really much fight from either of them in the first and the second game, so I'm going to be curious to see how this one goes down. The map does look like Arabia to me, and obviously right here it says the COT map pack version 2, but Arabia is part of that map, and part of that pack even, and the map is certainly looking like Arabia right now, so I'm going to go ahead and say it's that. So anyway, up to the north of the map, in blue, we do have Daut. He's playing as Koreans, and surprisingly, I would be surprised if it wasn't, but it's a Civ matchup, so Chris going to be in red down to the south as Koreans as well. Now, I've got to say, Koreans are one of my least favourite civilizations to play. I just find them really awkward, and I'm never really sure where I want to go with them. Of course, the obvious option for Koreans is to go with archers in the feudal age, if you're going to be flushing, but also towers are sometimes a good option. They do upgrade, obviously, for free once you upgrade to the castle and the imperial age, so Korean tower rushing can be pretty effective, as well as sort of like bombard tower play in the late imperial age and going with a lot of siege, because of course the Koreans are a great siege civilization. But really, I mean, a lot of the Koreans' sort of tech tree focused around archers and infantry, not really a big focus on cavalry at all there. And I think in this game we're probably going to see archers and crossbows. Then maybe on a little bit later on we'll see some gunpowder units, well, not gunpowder units, like maybe some bombard cannons if it gets to the late Imperial, who knows. We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully some heavy siege equipment, that's what I was trying to say, not gunpowder, heavy siege. Siege Onager hype, get on it. So anyway, speed things up a little bit through the Dark Age. Could be potential for a drush right here. And at the moment, 4 villagers on the wood for Chris, and 4 on the wood for Daut. So if a drush does come in from either of them and they do scout it, then it can be possible for them to very quickly react to that. And around the 6-minute 50 mark, we'll keep an eye out and see if a drush is going to be incoming at all. And it would be quite a nice way to start the game off, because I do feel like the Koreans start to excel a little bit once they get up to the castle age. Daut, though, look at that, losing that boar right there, a little bit messy from him. And obviously, if you are intending to make a drush, losing that first boar like that is a little bit unnecessary. He's almost lost it again right there, finally just bringing it in. And Chris just bringing in his second, so Daut a little bit more delayed on getting his boars in right there. And it does make a little bit of a difference, you know, as obviously you do get a lot of food a lot faster from the boar, and being able to get the food in quickly will enable you to do a drush. Looks like the drush going to come in right now. We're seeing that villager forward for Daut, and likely to see a barracks there as well. Same for Chris, so drushing at its finest. We should have a look then at the map, and for Chris right now, he has got a pretty reasonable map, to be honest with you. The downside for him is that his gold is on a hill, but he is walling across the front already, and you know, Chris, I've got to admire him. He is a great waller. I know kind of the walling champion of the world is Tim right now. He's very well known for that, but Chris is very inventive and very creative with his walls. And you know, he has some really nice strategy. He uses gates a lot as well when it comes to late game archer wars, using gates there to protect his archers. You know, that kind of little trickery, those little styles there, really does make quite a bit of a difference, and it's really interesting to see his style of play and his style of walling. But Chris does have an easy wall right here, and he's going to pretty much corner himself into the map right now. Anyway, speed things down back to the normal speed so that we can see how this drush goes. 3 militia and a scout each, all on full HP, so it is very even at this stage of the game. Looks like Daut as well, able to wall pretty easily right here. This gold on the front, but pretty protected by this wall up at the front right now. And both of them at the moment skirting around each other, unable to really find a way in. And I think they met at the field of battle right here. They saw that it was very even, and they said, nah, let's just go home. Both of them now just sending their militia back to their base, and maybe we'll see them upgraded to men-at-arms. And one of them, it could be an interesting strategy. If one of them does decide to keep making militia, upgrade to men-at-arms, and maybe push in with those. But very weak to archers. And I think both of them are going to go add in a couple of archery ranges, in which case doing that would be a little bit risky. We could even see a fast castle out of this. Chris starting to wall up at the back right now, and you know, if he pulls off a full wall off, a fast castle could actually work for him. At the moment, though, a lot of farms going up, so you know that could actually be on the cards. Still, only one villager over to the gold right now, and he's still adding in villagers by the looks of things. Oh, I was looking at Daut. Never mind, but Chris could still do that. Lots of farms, as I said. Still taking that sheep right there. 4 villagers on the berries. They're going to last a while. And only 2 villagers over to gold, which does kind of say to me fast castle right now. Having a look at Daut then, well, starting to wall up on the right hand side, but his gold collection a little bit higher. He has got 4 villagers over on there, and although yes, he has seeded in a few more farms, perhaps we could see some scouts from both of them. But again, I think scouts would be a little bit stupid in this situation, as Chris already is going to be walled up. So fast castle could be on the cards, but I think maybe archery range, and if that is the case, you know, this is kind of odd. Daut taking a lot of berries right now. You know, with this amount of food coming in, you'd think, oh, maybe he's going to go scouts or he's going to fast castle, but we'll have to wait and see, I guess. It could be possible to go knights in the castle age, of course, but I still feel like archers are a slightly better choice right here. Have to wait and see. Chris, though, now fully walled up. He is, he has 4 villagers on the gold right there, and it does literally seem like it's going to be a fast castle. Not a great deal of villagers gathering that wood right there, and he's almost up to the 800 food mark already, with plenty of gold coming in as well, and these villagers, enough wood in the bank to add in that market or archery range, and add in that blacksmith as well. We'll see what Chris puts down, archery range and blacksmith, so expected from him. See what Daut's going to do right here. He's certainly lower behind, well, further behind in the food count, and it's going to be an archery range and blacksmith as well, fast castle for both of them, and going to be interesting. I'll be curious to see how they take this from the castle age, and again, both of them looking like they want to boom up, but of course, this is Arabia, and Arabia does mean very high aggression in most situations, and harder to wall, and I think Daut's map here on the left side, very open indeed. He can wall it a little bit, but this gold is asking to be attacked, and Chris would be mad to just boom up all castle age and not make an attack here. And I think, yeah, adding in that second archery range there, a good indicator that he plans to do that. And archers coming out right now, possibly fletching done already, we'll have to wait and see, but garrisoning aside there, so we don't know right now. And interestingly enough, looks like Daut actually managed to get in there. Chris seemingly having a hole in his wall, a bit of a chase around with those scouts for the time being. So yeah, archers coming out, fletching not done just yet, but it is on the way, and we're going to see crossbows from both of them. Expected play right now, and Daut even making this wall up on the left side as well, trying to secure his base, and I think a really good place to actually wall over here. Very good decision to wall this, as this gold is now going to be much more secure as well, and it's much easier than walling straight along here, as this gold would be under a lot of pressure if Chris did bring any archer units in. So there we go. Chris now up to the castle age. Daut shortly to follow, and the archers pushing out across the map right now. Crossbow straight away, 56-70% on that, and going to be adding in bodkin arrow in just a moment's time. Lacking a little bit of resources for that at the moment, but going to be getting that all-important bodkin arrow research in a few moments. I'm going to be interested, as I said, to see how they play this again. I think we could see this game go to the Imperial Age. I wouldn't be surprised. Obviously, with both of them walling up and going up to the Castle Age, we can expect to see some booming of sorts. Chris right now, though, and we have seen this a lot, playing very aggressively, not adding in a second TC just yet. He can just about afford it. Maybe he'll put it down right now. But interestingly enough, he is not doing so. He's going to wait on that TC and probably try and play a little bit more aggressively. Of course, this is only a palisade, so with a hill advantage, Chris can easily take this down with a few crossbows there, and managing to snipe Daut's crossbow very easily at the moment. So Chris could break his way down into Daut's base. Looks like he's going to aim for the house. Chris, there's a palisade right there. Much better choice. There we go. Attacking the palisade right now. Going to work his way into Daut's base, and Daut adding in that second town centre right now does mean that he's going to be playing a little bit more with economy in mind, and making sure he's got a good base to continue the outset of this game, well, the remainder of this game. Third TC is going up right there. More crossbows for Daut as well. Of course, he does have the reinforcement advantage. He has got a shorter distance to travel to his front lines than Chris. But Chris sending over more crossbows right now. And for now, still only on the 1 TC. So Chris, his style certainly seeming to be very aggressive these days. Looking to force an engagement wherever possible in both the first and the second game. And now here too. So going to break down this palisade. Fortunately for Daut, this TC will go up in time, and Chris is going to have to be forced very close to the edge of these trees here, which is going to be a little bit awkward for him to get in. It looks like Daut as well going to be outnumbering him as also. So Daut's in a nice position. He's got his 3 TCs up. He's got enough crossbows to defend, and Chris sticking with the 1 TC right now, and I think now just thinking that he's not going to be able to get away in, adding in that second TC. And of course, Bodkin Arrow done for Chris. Still fletching for Daut at the moment, as Chris does pick off those militia. But I'm expecting that Daut will get Bodkin Arrow when he sees that Chris has Bodkin. Of course, with that Bodkin Arrow upgrade, it makes it so much easier to out-micro your opponent. You can move into and out of range very easily indeed. You can see Chris there, instead of microing side to side, microing back and forth. And that's obviously because of the extra range advantage that he has. Daut, though, does have a lot more crossbows in this situation, and I'm curious as to know what Chris has been doing with his resources. The fact that he's only just getting his second TC up, and he's not really outnumbering Daut in terms of crossbows either. It's a little bit odd to me. So Daut should be able to defend this. Chris does have a hill advantage, but it's kind of negated by the fact that there's so many crossbows right there. The hill really isn't going to make that much difference. They are just going to one-shot each other anyway. But Chris still with the Bodkin Arrow advantage here, and seemingly attacking that house because he's got some house fetish or something, I don't know. Got some obsession with hitting that house with arrows. It's like a pincushion. Anyway, Chris for now then, continuing with his crossbow production, finally adding in that 3rd TC on the front, but Daut's economy going to be much further ahead. He's 66 population as opposed to Chris is 64, so perhaps he's actually been a little bit hard pushed to keep these TCs producing villagers. Looks like they have been having some idle time, but Daut now gonna move in right here, and Chris gonna lose this entire army. There is no questions about it. He does not need Bodkin Arrow. He will still take this army out, and Chris, quite a big loss at this stage. I do think, though, potentially coming out on top still. These crossbows coming in from the side doing quite a bit of damage, but Daut going to snipe the rest of those off right now, and defending actually just fine. I think loss is about even for both of them, roughly the same amount of numbers. I'd say Daut had a few more crossbows in there, but at this stage his economy should be in a better position, and perhaps going to just be thinking to play a little more defensively, but sending out a counter right now. Going to be able to see what he can find, but still, without that Bodkin Arrow upgrade, I wouldn't really want to get really aggressive as Daut in this situation. Perhaps we'll see a Siege Workshop coming out in order to defend, but for the time being, continuing to add in those crossbows and really just keep things ticking over. You can see, really, he must have had quite a lot of idle idle TC time. This TC was idle for a little bit there, and, you know, surprisingly struggling to get those villagers out. And even though Chris didn't have those TCs up so soon, I still think his villager count's going to be roughly even, as he didn't have an idle TC that entire time. I'm just making that assumption, of course. Right now, though, both of them still having a little bit of a skirmish on this hill, and Daut still without the Bodkin Arrow, so losing a couple of units there for nothing. And surely he's got to realise it's making quite a bit of a difference at this stage, especially when it comes to one-on-one crossbow fighting. Chris coming around this side could snipe off a couple of villagers, but Daut seemingly very well aware, and there's the Siege Workshop from Daut as well, looking then like he wants to play it a little more defensively. And of course, capitalise on that extra range on those mangonels right there. So, should be able to defend reasonably well with a mangonel, and of course with his crossbows that he has out already. Curious to see how he decides to play this for the rest of it, though. Of course, Arbalest, a very viable option in the Imperial Age. Bracer is available, of course, to that. And Daut, you're only just getting Wheelbarrow at 26 minutes in. That's a very late Wheelbarrow time, and you know, this is why I wish I could see researches a lot easier. I'd love to see if Chris has Wheelbarrow right now, or even when he researched Wheelbarrow. I imagine it would have been a lot sooner. You can see Chris just researching Handcart right now. Daut only just completing Wheelbarrow, and Chris's economy actually probably not far behind at all, considering he didn't have an idle TC, considering he's got that Wheelbarrow and that handcart upgrade much sooner. Daut's actually probably looking a little bit worse off in economy at this stage. Pushing out a little bit right there though, and +2 attack is now, and range of course now done, so able to actually make a little bit more movement with these crossbows, not just sticking them in his base. But still, I'm very surprised at Daut here for delaying that handcart so long. Sorry, the wheelbarrow so long. Chris of course now will have handcart just about finishing up. If not, it's already done. Yeah, it's already done. So his economy is going to be in a great shape right here. Siege Workshop, just for good measure, and he has seemingly got a few more units out. 23 ranged for Chris, 16 for Daut, so numbers in Chris's favour, but you've got to bear in mind, Daut does have the siege, well, the mangonel out now, with the extra range, of course, so going to be able to outrange the crossbows, which is really what makes the Korean mangonel so powerful. I don't think Chris knows that he has a Siege Workshop, so this will catch him off guard a little bit here. Mangonel, there it is, gonna miss though, and now Chris is gonna be alerted to this. Focusing that one down pretty quickly. And having to put them into wide formation. Daut spending a lot of resources on this. Quite a lot of resources on those two mangonels there. But Chris probably going to be forced to make a mangonel of his own fairly soon, because if Daut does push out with these, Chris will need mangonels to defend with, and we can see already he's got one out right now. And I think Daut now thinking of going up to Imp, that university, 88%, and not seeing, oh yeah, of course, Siege Workshop. Chris though, managing to find a way in. How did he do that? Where did he get in? I don't know, but he managed to get in, and pick off a few villagers pretty easily. Of course, having to contend with this mangonel, no easy task, but even so, Chris there with a couple of villager snipes looking for some more. And there's clearly a hole in Daut's wall somewhere there. I'm not sure if Chris actually broke it down. He may have broke down this bit of wall here. Kind of hard to see, but potentially doing just that. And obviously finding a way in now. Going to pick off a few more villagers. Thank you very much, Chris says. And Daut's not looking so great at this stage of the game. Chris starting to pull ahead in score as well. He should just be clicking up to Imp in a second though. He's just shy of the gold count. And Chris giving him the old runaround. Sniping a few villagers wherever he can, and probably going to end up suiciding these crossbows in here, but not after doing quite a bit of damage. Daut killing his own villager there. Daut clearly feeling a bit suicidal. Chris though making these crossbows worth every single penny, and really going to capitalize on as much as he can as he gets cleared out after picking off yet another few villagers. So really nice play by Chris there, getting his way in. Nice split down here on the south, avoiding the mangonel from Daut. And you know what, considering these mangonels have such high range, Chris managing to pick it off pretty easily here, going for the villagers as well. Nice play by him, good micro, and able to really push Daut back into his base. And this is really not a position Daut wants to be in at this stage of the game. Imperial Age is on the way for Daut though. Chris still castle, lots of wood, lots of food in the bank, but lacking the gold right now. And you know, I have noticed these guys' economy has been a little bit off recently. A very imbalanced economy right now for Chris, seemingly, with way too much food and wood in the bank and just very little gold at this stage. He's not taking this gold back here, and that is quite surprising. He does have very few gold collectors. And you know, depending on how you play Koreans, they can be quite a gold-intensive civilization. That research for the onager and the siege onager costing so much, and of course, siege in general being a very expensive thing to pursue. Interesting that Chris doesn't really have many gold collectors now, finally just moving some over, and he should click up to the Imperial Age, but where is his second building? He's actually lacking a university or a monastery. It's a castle going down on the front, so it's actually going to be the castle that gets him up to the Imperial Age, but he really is delaying a lot here. I'm a little bit concerned for Chris, as he has a elite amount of wood. Had to ruin it. But even so, a lot of wood, and gold, a lot of wood and food in the bank, and still not upgrading to the Imperial Age, while Daut is at 90% right now, going to be hitting the Imperial Age in just a second, and may be able to push straight out of his base and do a big amount of damage to Chris's economy. The only thing that I noticed right now for Daut is that he doesn't have enough stone for a castle. He's still investing in the town centres here, and I think that's a little bit of a bad decision. I mean, he might decide to upgrade to Siege Ram, but certainly having a castle out and having the access to trebuchets is a much better thing for you to have. Daut there. Oh, Daut. This is where you patrol. Sending all of those units to their deaths there, and I think, you know, if you don't patrol your units, you're wasting a very valuable amount of units right there, pretty much for nothing, just sending them to their deaths. Chris looking in a nice position, I've got to say. He hasn't clicked up to Imp for quite some time. He could have clicked up a lot sooner, but he is still in a great position right now, putting out some mangonels. And Daut going to get a few more kills right here. Nice shots on that mangonel. Of course, that mangonel does go down, but Chris losing a little bit too much there on his crossbows. Kind of unnecessary losses. But Chris putting those castles up in the center, making some war wagons, and, you know, war wagons, I can't speak. Pretty versatile unit. They do have a lot of HP, and they are very tanky. They don't put out so much damage. I mean, they do pretty good damage, even so, but they're kind of, you know, they're very hard to mass, but if you've got the economy to support it, war wagons can be extremely good in the late game. Gonna be curious to see how he decides to use them. It looks like at the moment war wagons and siege are on the cards, perhaps saving up for that siege onager upgrade at the moment, and of course upgrading those war wagons as well with the +2/+2. I imagine we're gonna see Bracer straight away. Daut now with the onager upgrade, and we are getting on the siege onager hype already. We are going to be seeing siege onagers coming out very soon indeed, and that makes me excited. Daut adding in those stables there. Going to be curious to see what he makes with them. Could indeed add in some knights, but at the moment researching the light cavalry, and that is a good decision. Light cavalry, of course, able to tackle onagers and siege pretty quickly, pretty easily, and they are cheap as well, so you can mass them up, throw them to their deaths, and cause your enemy to lose a lot of gold. Chris though right now up to Imp, and he is in a nice position. He's pushing out across the map, taking the extra gold spots and really starting to spread his villagers very evenly over the gold, and this is what you want to see. It means that your villagers aren't going to be bashing each other. It means they're going to be spread out very evenly, and if you do lose one gold mining camp, you've got more to fall back on. Chris, he's got to be getting the onager upgrade. There it is, 50%, and a lot of mangonels out on the field already, 6 to be precise. Looking pretty damn good right there. And more castles along the front as well. I like this. He's setting up a very sort of big perimeter with these castles, sort of at main important areas. One to secure this gold. One, interestingly enough, sort of at the bottom of this hill, but one over to the right on the top as well. And it's going to be a little bit stalematey, I feel. I don't know. Chris seems like he's on top. It looks like he's got more map control. Looks like he's got more military as well. But Daut, is he researching siege onager? No. Daut, you disappoint me. Kind of wish he was. But Chris right now, as I said, with those castles, and this is going to make a big difference, I think. Those castles right there, a very good defensive building. Also, able to produce those trebuchets are going to give him a lot of support. And I think if Chris continues with the war wagon production, could be in a very nice position. Also securing the relics, worth pointing that out. A very big gold boost over the duration of the game, and war wagons continually pushing out for Chris right now. Nice play style by him. Another siege workshop on the left, and you know, as Koreans you can never really have too many siege workshops, scattering them around all over the map. And finally a castle from Daut on the front, but Daut, I feel like he's getting very confined right here. He's losing out on these extra gold spots, losing out on the relics, and as Barbecue Turkman would like to say, gold is king in this game. Either way, light cavalry coming out right now for Daut, and it is a good unit choice. He will of course be able to take out his opponent's siege with them, but you know, if Chris does have enough war wagons and he does position them in front of his siege, he's going to be in a great position to defend them with. Siege onager at 60% for Chris right now. He's on it, like a carb on it, and he's going to be pushing out with this mass of just unwieldy, beastly machines. I'm really not looking forward to seeing, well, I am actually really looking forward to it. the massive amount of damage that the siege onagers are going to be able to do once that research is done. It's on 80%, it's almost at 100, and oh, I can't wait to see it. I love seeing like masses of siege onagers just like flattening each other. It's so great. Extra range, of course, as well, capitalizing on that. One siege onager, well, one onager down for Daut, and Chris clinging to his hill, happy to take the hill here. 2 onagers for 1, and another big hit right there, going to mean another one gets flattened. A siege onager is completed for Chris right now, starting to really hammer down on this castle. But Daut has got those light cavalries in play. He's going to bring them in right now, try and do what damage he can to Daut right here, but I don't think he sees the amount of war wagons behind this. And these light cavalry, yes, they're going to do a lot of damage. They're going to take out the onagers very slowly indeed, but the war wagons making all the difference. The light cavalry getting absolutely flattened there, and for now, Chris keeping the majority of his onagers alive. Really nice play by Chris. Managing to catch Daut off guard there with those war wagons. Good decision making indeed. Castle going to stay up though for now, and trebuchets are flattened for Chris, and this is what I was saying. The Koreans are very sort of slow-paced, very hard to pop cap. Well, not hard to pop cap, but because they're so gold intensive, it does take a little longer than other civs. I mean, if this was Goths right now, Goths would be all over this, but it's not. It's Koreans, and they are very, very slow to start building their units. But Chris making some excellent trades right there. Those siege onagers getting some great hits on Daut, and Daut losing a lot of onagers pretty unnecessarily, I feel. Chris even having to go at the trees. He must be really angry, deciding to flatten those with his siege onagers as well, just for good measure. Right now, I'm curious to see what he's producing. A lot of, well, siege expected, but no real support, aside from the elite war wagons, which at the moment he's not continuing to create. Interesting. He's got a lot of gold, a lot of wood in the bank. War wagons should be continually produced right now, and he can certainly afford it. The only problem I feel with war wagons at this stage is that if you do mass them and they go down, that's a lot of resources down the drain, and it's costly. It's a really costly loss. This is the problem with Koreans. If you lose your units, they cost so much. But look at this, able to tank like a boss, actually taking so many onager hits right now, and able to get in there, prevent his onagers from going down. If he was a little bit faster, he would have done anyway, but even so, really nice trades by Chris, as I said, managing to take out a lot of these onagers for Daut, and he's continuing to push in right now. Still got to be careful of the castle, of course. 8+2 range on the onagers, 8+3 on the castle. That's a big deal. And this castle slowly but surely getting whittled down. Siege onagers really just taking their toll on Daut right now, and the war wagons providing a very tanky shield for them as well. As I said earlier, they are going to be able to protect the onagers very nicely as Chris continues to flatten Daut there. Wow, Daut losing so much siege, so many resources just wasted there, but keeping this castle alive is still so important, and he is managing it really, really well as Chris adds trebuchets, and wow, that's a lot of war wagon production. So Chris looking pretty well right now at the moment, able to defend from the light cavalry very easily indeed, still focusing on getting this castle down, and you know, no chemistry, which is kind of interesting. I mean, why not have chemistry? That's the question. But yeah, still trying to focus on this castle, still adding in those trebs, and really Daut wasting a lot of resources on defending this, but he knows that if that castle goes down, so does the rest of his base, because there's actually nothing behind this to really defend with. Daut though on the siege onager hype as well, getting out those siege onagers. He is good. He does know siege onagers need to counter siege onagers, and you know, just for the sake of viewing purposes, we need siege onagers in this game. This castle though, I do think that is going to go down eventually. It can't just stay up forever. Both of them are taking massive losses though at the front here. So many just dead machines on the floor right there, and Daut so desperately keeping that castle alive. It's a big deal. I think what Chris is going to do here, light cavalry again, charge the lines here, try and take out those villagers, and then take out the castle. But you know, losing so many trebuchets here, Chris is starting to get pretty low on gold. Thankfully for him, he has, as I said, taken those extra gold mines, and if Chris is low on gold, I bet Daut is too. Yeah, Daut is probably out right now. A little bit of gold right here on this TC. Aside from that, not a lot of gold income at all. And Daut now gonna have to switch to pure trash. He could add in some skirmishers to bulk his army out, but for the time being, gonna stick with those light cavalry. And it's almost like a war of attrition at the moment, because Daut is going to be starved very shortly of a lot of resources. Hussar upgrade is done for Chris as well. And that is no small one, because that upgrade is going to make a very big difference. Of course, Hussar and light cavalry have a pretty good health difference right there. You have a look, it's an extra 15 health on them, which is going to improve their longevity, especially for taking out the siege onagers. And now, Chris going to take this hill up here, going to try a different angle, managing to take out the light cavalry pretty damn easily indeed. Those elite war wagons, so tanky. But Daut not too far behind in score, even at this late stage of the game. But taking this hill, managing to secure that one fairly well, and for now, oh wow, okay. One light cavalry escaping the pack, actually giving a little bit of havoc over here. Chris not able to take this gold without getting killed off. But as I said, Daut going to be so low on gold right now. Not got any real gold income. He's got 1 gold mine left with 100 left, and that is nothing at all, really. And right now, he's going to get very starved of gold, going to be forced into making a lot of trash. Whereas Chris still got some gold income, still got some relics on the go as well. And right now, he's still adding in those Hussar. He's still adding in some, well, he's going to go for some Halberdier, I believe, as well. So looking in a much better position at this stage, probably going to be able to get up to that 200 population mark fairly quickly as well. Not to forget that getting pops on this is very important. Military production-wise, though, well, military-wise, fairly close. There's only 15 difference in their population counts at this stage of the game. And it is, as I said, probably going to be very stalematey right here. Daut's going to push out. What's he going to find? Well, I think he's going for the lumber over here. Villagers getting cut down as they go, but probably actually just to throw those away. I mean, at this stage of the game, that many villagers... Okay, he's going to put a castle up on the front. Alright, fair enough. Going to try and put a castle up on the front. Chris has something to say about that. He says war wagons. And those villagers are probably going to die pretty quickly, let's be honest. Although saying that, a lot of light cavalry from Daut here. Where is that Hussar upgrade? It doesn't look like he can afford it. He got gold for it. And Daut now, looking like he's going to be in a pretty bad position. He's got this castle on the front, and he's spent so much to defend it. This castle probably not actually going to go up. These war wagons from Chris proving their worth. As this castle reaches 70%, he should really try and focus down these villagers, actually. Maybe the castle will go up. And Chris just going to let the castle go up. Okay, fair enough. Oh, no, he's not. Oh, did you see that siege onager shot right there? 99%. The castle goes up at the last second. How the hell did that villager manage that? I don't know, but the castle goes up. And, you know, that would have been huge if he'd have stopped it. But, oh, well. Chris taking a lot of victory there, though. Well, a lot of units even. Killing a ton of villagers. Killing a lot of Daut's light cavalry as well. And right now, he certainly has the superior trash. And this is going to come down to a bit of a trash war, as I said. Daut is very gold starved. Chris continuing to take the relics, though. And this castle now from Daut going to go down very quickly, I feel. There's nothing really there to protect it. And it was a little bit of a futile attempt to get it up. But 99%, I mean, I really thought that that was actually... not gonna stay up at all. I really just didn't think it. Siege onagers battering away at war wagons, and you know, they really do take a beating. They really do. That siege onager gonna go down. One war wagon gonna go down, but really not worth the siege onager loss there. Oh, Chris getting in on the right side as well with those hussars. Being a real pain. Taking out a lot of onagers right there, and Chris, I can't see how Chris is not going to be able to take this right here. He's in such a great position right now. He's got plenty of military production. He's got a huge economy behind this, and he's got the upgrades. The thing that Daut lacks right now is Hussar. He also lacks the Halberdier upgrade, and Chris has both of those things. So Daut, as I said, with that lack of gold, you know, if this was a team game, it would be a different story. He'd have trade, but he doesn't have relics. He has no gold, and Chris now going to be able to push in with just oodles of trash. going to be, you know, heading straight into Daut's direction. And Daut is lacking the upgrades that he needs to really fight it off, and that's the biggest issue that I think he's facing right now. Gonna speed things up slightly just to see how this one goes, because at the moment it's looking very stalematey on this left flank. Really not a lot from Chris here. I think what Chris should do at this stage is just mass up, get to 200 population, and then go for one big final push in, and that would really help him out. These war wagons though, still alive. I mean, that's quite impressive. Hussars up on the left side. Getting that extra military production, certainly worth it. Finally, the halberdier done for Daut, but still lacking the hussar upgrade. And those hussars are going to be the ones that take out the siege onagers, of course. Chris going to be focusing down this castle now. And I think once this castle goes down, it is literally just the door or the key to Daut's base. That's all that Chris has really been focusing on this entire game. And of course, once it goes down, it's going to be a huge gaping hole in Daut's defenses right now. Oh, look at that siege onager hit. It just missed. That was unfortunate. But Chris here, with the numbers, it seems, going to be able to fight these halberdier off. Going to keep these trebs alive, and this castle will go down. There is no questions about it. The elite war wagons here just proving their worth. I mean, it would be so cool if we could see how many units these war wagons had killed. But I bet you it's a lot. This castle for Daut now just about to fall by looks of things, and wow, this has been quite a long game, I've got to say. Almost an hour of in-game time so far as this castle finally falls. Daut making a last push out on this left side, trying to kill off Chris's gold collectors, trying to stop the gold from being taken, but Chris already has the relics. He's got 3 relics secured right there, a 4th up in the north, which I'm surprised he's not taken. But that is going to help his gold count out. His population caps. Daut has lost his castle, and Chris has to push in right now with his units and take the game. Daut desperately trying to get up those barracks, and you know, he's got a lot of wood in the bank, a little bit of food as well. Going to be able to spam halberdier for quite a while, but his population as a whole still starting to dip right now. And surely at this stage of the game, he has to realise that his economy is not going to be further ahead than Chris is. Sure, he can produce halberdier all day, but so can Chris. And Chris, with the elite war wagons, with what siege he has left, is certainly going to be making a big impact here. Looks like Chris is going to switch to... okay, I thought he was going to switch to some skirmishers. Skirmishers, yeah, there we go. Switching to skirmishers. Good counters to halberdier, if you can mass them up. Chris continuing to push in right now. Daut spamming those halberdier all day long, and it's just, I don't know. I mean, can he really win this in this situation? Raids in the back of his base as well. Didn't notice that, but Chris with the right hand side of the map under his control, able to get in here with these hussar. And hussars are a great raiding unit. They will do a lot of damage. And of course, Korean's not really a cavalry civilization, so there's no +4 defense on these guys, but they do make a great raiding unit. Even so, able to get in there. They're fast, they're mobile, and they will kill villagers very quickly. And Daut now continuing with this halberdier spam. Going to be keeping that up all day long, but we're seeing a massive mix. Skirmishers, halberdier, hussar. It's a complete spam fest right now. And I've got a feeling that with these raids into the back of Daut's economy, with the huge production that Chris has, the fact he's adding in skirmishers is a great insight, because we know that Daut is only making halbs right now. Skirmishers have an attack bonus against halberdier. Going to be able to take them out pretty quickly, if he gets enough of them out, of course. Taking off pretty big chunks of their health. But Daut, surprisingly, still pushing out right here. And Chris could lose these trebs if he's not careful. Still streaming those units across the map, attacking on the left, attacking on the right, attacking all over the place, wherever he can find a place to attack. And Daut going to lose a lot of units here, I feel. Population-wise, 183 to 164. It's still very close, surprisingly. And this is just what, you know, this is where it starts to get messy. And this is where that extra gold is going to make the world of difference. The fact that Chris has the relics right now, the fact he's still taking a little bit of gold, that's a big deal. He's going to be able to get a few more of these war wagons out, maybe even another onager. And from there, he'll take it. I think right now, Daut going to be flailing, going to be losing this front again. The addition of the skirmishers from Chris is really what is winning this for him right here. And now, going to be continuing to push in. I think Daut's just hanging on for whatever he can hang on to. I don't think there's anything left to really hang on to right now. Getting very low on food. Maybe he'll continue spamming the halbs until there's no food left. I don't know, but either way, I'm expecting a GG in just a few moments' time. Switching back to like cavalry to counter the skirmishers. Good choice, but Chris is keeping it mixed up, adding in those halbs in there as well. And there's the GG from Daut right there, and I've got to say that was a pretty good game. Daut, I think, had a good idea. He was intending initially to stick inside of his base, boom it out, and then push. But Chris, with these 3 castles on the front, 4 even, with the extra gold that he gained by taking map control and the relics, really did allow him to keep the pressure on, and I think the war wagons really made a huge difference for Chris in that game. But even so, it was actually fairly close towards the end there. It literally came down to a trash war, and that's the kind of situation you don't want to have, because a trash war can last for hours. But fortunately, Chris was on top on that one. It does mean that the series of these 6 games is now tied up, not tied up, it's now in favour of Chris at 2-1. So I'm going to play a quick advert after this, and I'll be with back with you and game 4 in